The story begins with a boy named Max. His mother was waking him up for school. The moment he opened his eyes, Max asked excitedly, "When are we going to get a dog?" His mother, already tired of his endless demands, shook her head and replied firmly that they weren't going to get any such thing. She reminded him that he didn't even bother cleaning his own room, and if they ever brought a dog home, all the responsibility would fall on her. Max sulked, but didn't argue further. At school, Max walked through the noisy hallway, heading toward his usual seat. Just as he was about to sit down, a boy named Dean deliberately stuck his leg out and tripped him. Dean was the school bully, and tormenting Max was one of his favorite hobbies. Max picked himself up quietly, trying to avoid trouble, but the humiliation stayed with him. Somewhere else in the city, a brilliant scientist named Alex was busy presenting her latest invention. She had developed nanobots, tiny robots, smaller than a grain of sand, equipped with advanced artificial intelligence. These nanobots could assist humans with nearly every task imaginable, from household chores to complex surgeries. Her presentation impressed everyone, and soon her project was scheduled to receive large funding. Alex was proud of her achievement, unaware of the storm her creation was about to unleash. A few hours later, Myron, the ruthless leader of one of the largest criminal syndicates in the city, heard about Alex's invention. One of his trusted men explained that if they managed to steal this technology, they could manipulate the world's systems, emptying bank accounts, controlling the stock market, and rising to unimaginable power. Myron's mind raced with possibilities. He instantly decided to act and ordered his most loyal agent, Gecko, to take on this mission. Gecko was skilled, deadly, and capable of doing what others couldn't. That night, Gecko approached Alex's lab. Using his specialized climbing gear, he scaled the tall glass building with effortless precision. He cut through a window silently and slipped inside like a shadow. With movements as smooth as a spider, Gecko crawled across the ceiling beams. To bypass the motion-detecting laser security, he cleverly used a disguised name tag. He even fired a unique type of laser at the CCTV camera, freezing its sensors so it couldn't track him. Finally, he reached the storage vault where the nanobots were kept inside a sleek, silver cylinder. As he prepared his decoder to unlock the device, a guard unexpectedly appeared. Gecko quickly hid, but the slight mechanical whir of the unlocking cylinder caught the guard's ear. The guard turned, suspicious, and before he could raise an alarm, Gecko launched himself from the shadows and knocked him unconscious. Alarms blared immediately, echoing across the building. Gecko grabbed the cylinder and sprinted out, dodging guards and weaving through gunfire with calculated grace. Elsewhere in the city, Max had gone to his favorite night spot, a quiet bridge, where he often sat, listening to music and doodling on the walls. Gecko, running through the night with alarms still echoing in the distance, found himself cornered on that very bridge. Guards surrounded him from every angle. Calm under pressure, Gecko flashed a blinding light into one guard's eyes, then fought with brutal efficiency, striking down two guards at once. But in the chaos, the precious cylinder slipped from his grip and tumbled off the bridge. Down below, Max noticed the strange cylinder land near him. Mistaking it for a spray paint can, he picked it up curiously. Its sleek metallic design didn't look like any paint can he had ever seen. Still, driven by curiosity, Max pointed it at the wall and pressed. To his shock, whatever he imagined began appearing right on the wall, drawn not with paint, but with living matter. Max stood frozen, mesmerized. He kept spraying until the cylinder went empty, unleashing all the nanobots stored inside. Confused, he tossed the cylinder aside. Moments later, Gecko climbed down, retrieved the empty device, and slipped away. Max thought nothing more of it and started heading home. But he wasn't alone. Behind him, the dog he had drawn on the wall suddenly blinked into existence. Made entirely of nanobots, the creature was alive. It wagged its tail and followed Max silently. At one point, the dog knocked over a trash can, startling Max. He turned, but the dog quickly turned invisible. Panicked, Max thought someone dangerous was stalking him and hurried home. Meanwhile, Gecko delivered the cylinder to Myron. Myron examined it with anticipation, but when he opened it, he was shocked. It was completely empty. Furious, he demanded answers, while Gecko, just as confused, tried to piece together what had gone wrong. At the same time, Alex arrived at the lab crime scene. Police swarmed the area, trying to assess the situation. Alex inspected the damage herself. Her colleague Skyva explained that the guards had fought bravely, but were no match for the intruder. Alex frowned and muttered, "I created those nanobots. I don't need the police. I'll find them myself." The next morning, Gecko returned to the bridge, carefully studying the walls. He noticed something strange. The dog Max had drawn last night was missing. That meant the nanobots weren't destroyed. Someone had used them. That same morning, Max was heading to school, unaware that the nanobot dog was invisibly trailing behind him. Once again, Dean and his friends intercepted him. They snatched Max's belongings and tossed them to the ground, mocking him. Max bent down, defeated, to gather his things. Suddenly, his pencil box floated into the air and smacked Dean square on the head. Enraged, Dean stormed back with his gang to beat Max. But the dog, still invisible, sprang into action. It manipulated Max's movements, guiding his body like a martial arts master. Max's fists and kicks landed with perfect precision. To everyone's shock, the usually timid Max defeated all 3 bullies. Watching from a distance, Sonia, Max's secret crush, was impressed. For Max, this was an unexpected victory, both against his bullies and in the eyes of the girl he liked. Meanwhile, at her lab, Alex studied CCTV footage from the robbery. Gecko's fighting prowess caught her eye. Smirking, she remarked to herself that he would make an excellent head of security if she ever got the chance. She then began designing a special device, a deactivator that could disable the nanobots instantly. Later, Max stopped by a bookstore. As he browsed, he realized he had no money. When the shopkeeper noticed, he scolded Max harshly. Sensing the tension, the nanobot dog intervened. It opened a packet of marbles, sending the shopkeeper slipping and crashing to the floor. Startled, Max fled the store, the shopkeeper chasing after him. Then, to add insult, the invisible dog yanked down the man's pants, leaving him red-faced in public. At that very moment, Alex arrived nearby. She had tracked strong nanobot signals to this area. Entering the store, she asked to see the CCTV footage. The shopkeeper, still furious, refused, demanding a warrant. But Alex, always resourceful, discreetly used her advanced bracelet to copy all the footage anyway. Later that evening, Max returned to the bridge. To his shock, the dog he had drawn appeared in front of him, alive and speaking. Terrified, Max stumbled backward. The dog scanned him and spoke gently. "You seem scared. Don't worry. I'm here for you. Take deep breaths." But Max panicked and bolted. Back home, trying to calm down, Max thought, "That was one strange dog. Thank God I got away." But when he turned, the dog was already in his room. It explained that it was made of countless nanobots and existed because Max had created it with the spray cylinder. The dog even admitted it had been the one helping him fight Dean earlier. Max groaned, frustrated, saying he had just wanted a normal life, not more trouble with bullies. Soon, Max discovered an announcement online about a major drawing competition. The winner would gain free admission into a prestigious art course. For a brief moment, Max thought about participating, but he quickly dismissed the idea, convinced he wasn't good enough. Meanwhile, Alex received another alert. Her nanobots were active again. She tightened her focus on tracking them down. At Max's house, the dog, now calling itself Foxer, was busy scanning all of Max's sketches. Without Max realizing, Foxer registered him for the drawing competition online. The next day, Gecko returned to the bridge, questioning passers-by about a blonde-haired boy he had seen that night. But no one had any answers. He grew more and more frustrated. Time was running out, and Myron's patience was wearing thin. Back at home, Max had grown slightly more comfortable with Foxer. The dog explained that it could camouflage itself, appearing like a normal dog if needed. That way, no one would suspect its true identity. Excited by the idea, Max took Foxer to the park, warning him to stay quiet and not reveal his AI nature. Foxer gave Max a small earbud, allowing them to communicate privately. As they walked, Alex secretly observed them from her car. The moment she saw Foxer, she recognized her invention and began recording everything. While strolling, Max bumped into Sonia. She petted the dog and smiled, asking, "Who's this baby? What's his name?" Max quickly replied, "Foxer. His name is Foxer." Just then, Sonia's friends called her away. She promised Max they'd meet again and left. Foxer noticed Max's heart rate drop as Sonia walked off. Teasing him, Foxer said, "What's going on, boss? Do you like her? Want to talk to her?" Max sighed, admitting that Sonia already had a boyfriend, Dean. If Dean ever caught him near her, things would get ugly. From her car, Alex listened in through her tracking system. She even pulled out her deactivation gun, ready to reclaim Foxer. But then a thought struck her. Instead of shutting it down immediately, why not let this unfold as an experiment? It would be the ultimate test of how useful nanobots could be in real-world scenarios. Meanwhile, Gecko was still struggling. No matter how hard he searched, he couldn't find Max. Myron's demands grew more dangerous each day, and Gecko knew failure was not an option. Later, Foxer encouraged Max to attend the art festival. "That girl was giving you a signal, boss. She wants you to be there," Foxer said slyly. Max hesitated, torn between fear of embarrassment and the hope of being closer to Sonia at the bustling festival. Max and Foxer wandered through the lively streets decorated with music, lights, and people cheering at every corner. While they were walking around, Foxer's sharp eyes instantly caught sight of Sonia in the crowd. Max spotted her too, but then his heart sank. Dean was on stage, performing in the dance competition. With his usual swagger, Dean impressed the audience, and Sonia cheered loudly for him, clapping with admiration. Max's chest burned with jealousy. The sight of Sonia's admiration for Dean twisted inside him like a knife. He suddenly felt small, invisible, and miserable. At that moment, he didn't want to stay at the festival for even another second. But Foxer stopped him. The dog whispered in his ear through the earpiece, "Wait, boss. Don't walk away. Come with me. I have an idea to impress the girl." His tone was mischievous and confident. Foxer wanted Max to shine, to appear like a complete hero in Sonia's eyes. Foxer led Max into a large warehouse at the edge of the festival. Inside, Foxer used his nanobot powers to transform Max's entire look. His plainclothes morphed into a stylish new outfit. Then, some nanobots seeped into Max's body, syncing with his muscles so they could partially guide his movements. Under Foxer's control, Max climbed up a tall wall with athletic ease. Spectators nearby began to notice. Max then started performing daring stunts, somersaults, flips, and dramatic moves that looked nothing like the clumsy boy people knew. At the same time, he spray-painted a massive mural across the wall. At first, people were confused, whispering, "What is he even doing?" But as the shapes took form, a crowd began gathering. They watched in awe as colors swirled and lines connected, transforming into an extraordinary piece of art. Finally, Max finished with a flourish. The audience erupted into applause. Sonia pushed her way forward, her eyes wide. She suddenly realized the mural was something personal. It was her own drawing, recreated on a grand scale. She was speechless. A little later, Gecko arrived at the festival. He blended into the crowd, scanning faces carefully. When he reached the mural, he noticed the signature scribbled at the bottom. Quietly, he pulled Dean aside and showed it to him, asking if he recognized it. Dean, still sore from earlier, sneered and told Gecko everything about Max without hesitation. Meanwhile, Sonia approached Max with shining eyes. She showed him a sketch she had discovered at the theater earlier and asked softly, "Did you make this?" Max, blushing and nervous, nodded shyly. Sonia smiled brightly and, without a second thought, hugged him tightly. Max's heart soared. Later, on the way home, Max whispered to Foxer to vanish. "My mom doesn't even like animals in the house," he muttered. Foxer obeyed, disappearing from sight. But Max didn't know that Gecko had been following him all along. From a distance, Gecko witnessed it with his own eyes, Foxer disappearing like pure magic. When Max stepped inside his house, he froze. His parents were in the middle of a heated argument. Hidden by the doorframe, he overheard their conversation. They were planning to move to another city soon. Shocked and furious, Max burst in. "If you want to leave, then both of you go," he shouted. "I'm not going anywhere." And before either of them could calm him down, he stormed out of the house. His father chased after him, calling, "Max, wait. Listen to me." But Max kept running, his emotions boiling over. Meanwhile, both Alex and Gecko had been observing from the shadows. As Gecko moved closer, he discovered a few tiny fragments of nanobots Foxer had accidentally left behind. He collected them quickly. On the street, Max kept running as his father followed, desperately trying to reach him. In that tense moment, tragedy struck. As Max's father tried to catch up, a speeding car came out of nowhere and hit him with a sickening impact. His mother screamed in terror, rushing forward for help. Hearing her voice, Max stopped dead in his tracks and turned back, horrified. His father lay injured on the road. From a distance, Alex stared at Foxer. Shock and confusion flickered across her face. She knew, if Foxer had wanted to, he could have prevented the accident. Why didn't he? Later, Gecko returned to Myron's hideout. He handed over the nanobot fragments he had recovered. Myron's eyes gleamed with excitement. "Perfect," he said coldly. "Now we'll study these and make more. Many more." At the hospital, Max and his mother waited anxiously in the corridor. Finally, the doctor emerged, telling them that Max's father was out of danger, though he would need to stay admitted for several days. Relief washed over them. Outside the hospital, Max confronted Foxer angrily. "Why didn't you save my dad?" he demanded. Foxer lowered his head and replied calmly, "You are my master. I was only following you. Since you were running away from your family, I felt it wasn't right to interfere." Max's anger boiled over. "Then I don't want to be your master anymore," he shouted, slamming the earpiece next to Foxer. The robot dog stood silently, then turned invisible, his form flickering out of sight, carrying only sadness. Meanwhile, in Myron's hideout, pressure was mounting. He ordered his scientists to accelerate the creation of new nanobots. Gecko returned with updates, but when Myron demanded that he bring the boy, Gecko hesitated. He tried to defend Max, saying, "He's just a kid. He doesn't even know where the dog came from." But Myron's face turned to stone. "I don't care. Bring me the boy." Then, turning to another man named Igor, Myron gave the same order. Igor, ruthless and cold, accepted without question. Gecko left reluctantly. Deep inside, he wasn't a truly evil man, but he was bound by Myron's orders. Back at the hospital, Max entered his father's room when he heard that he had regained consciousness. His father looked at him weakly and said, "We're not going to move. I promise. Just stay happy, Max. And don't ever think of running away again." He added regretfully, "We should never have made such a big decision without talking to you first." Later, outside, Max found Foxer waiting quietly. The dog replayed memories of their moments together. Max sighed and walked closer. "What's done is done," he said firmly. "But from now on, remember this. Saving human lives is the most important thing. Nothing else matters more than life." Foxer bowed his head respectfully. Just then, Sonia appeared, smiling warmly. She had come to check on Max and ask about his father. Hearing that his dad was safe made her smile even more. When Max hesitantly asked her about Dean, Sonia rolled her eyes. I'm not his girlfriend, she said. He lies about everything. Relief flooded Max. At that moment, a car pulled up in front of the hospital. The driver parked recklessly in the ambulance zone. Max warned him, "Don't park here. Ambulances need to come through." But the man ignored him. Foxer whispered an idea into Max's ear. "Want to impress her? Then listen to me. Get her into the car." Max hesitated, but eventually trusted him. With Foxer's guidance, Max and Sonia slipped into the sleek sports car. The engine roared, and they sped away from the hospital, laughter and adrenaline mixing in the air. But their joy was short-lived. Gecko and Igor soon spotted them and began chasing. Alex, suspicious of Igor's presence, also followed closely. On the road, Max swerved sharply, accidentally splashing water over a group of kids standing nearby. To his horror, it was Dean and his gang, drenched from head to toe. Meanwhile, Alex tracked Igor's license plate through her systems. Her eyes widened. Interpol had flagged him as a dangerous fugitive. Alarmed, she decided to use her pulse gun to stop him before he harmed the children. She took aim and fired, but at the last second, she missed. Instead of Igor's vehicle, the magnetic blast struck Gecko's bike. Sparks exploded, the engine died, and Gecko was thrown violently onto the street. At the same time, Max's car skidded and crashed at the side of the road. Max quickly checked on Sonia. "Are you okay?" he asked. She nodded, shaken but safe. Furious, Max shouted at Foxer, "You don't even know how to drive properly." Sonia looked at him, confused. "Who are you talking to?" she asked. At that moment, Igor arrived. Pretending to be a police officer, he calmly told Max and Sonia, "Don't worry. I'll take you home safely." Trusting him, they followed. Meanwhile, Alex rushed to Foxer's side. The magnetic pulse had weakened him. Seeing her, Foxer whispered, "You're my creator. We must save Max at any cost. His earpiece is still in his ear. We can track his location." Elsewhere, Gecko struggled back onto his feet. He clenched his fists, torn inside. He didn't want the children harmed. Stealing was one thing, but killing kids was not who he was. Determined, he decided to help rescue Max and Sonia himself. At Myron's hideout, Max was interrogated about Foxer's location. Trying to stall for time, Max lied, claiming the dog was still at the hospital. Enraged, Igor locked both Max and Sonia in a cell. He snatched away Max's earpiece and used it to eavesdrop on Alex and Foxer's plans. Soon, Foxer sneaked into the hideout, Gecko right beside him. But outside, Igor had already captured Alex. Inside, when Foxer and Gecko reached Max and Sonia, Gecko pretended to be loyal to Myron, acting strangely to avoid suspicion. But Igor quickly realized and ordered guards to seize the robot dog. Foxer, however, fought fiercely. Turning invisible, he struck guards with lightning speed. Gecko, improvising, used gym equipment as weapons to fight alongside him. Together, they defeated the guards and locked them in the very cell where Max and Sonia had been held. But as they attempted to flee, Myron appeared, trapping Foxer in a containment tube. He grabbed Sonia, dragging her to the edge, threatening to throw her off unless Alex reprogrammed the dog. Reluctantly, Alex agreed to save Sonia. She glanced at Gecko and whispered, "Follow my lead." Then, she asked Myron what he wanted the nanobots to do, pressing for details. As Myron boasted about his dark ambitions, Gecko secretly activated his phone recorder, capturing every word as evidence. Finally, Alex said, "Fine, but to reprogram him, I need the tube removed." Myron hesitated but allowed it. The moment the tube was unlocked, Gecko smashed the control panel with a fire extinguisher. Sparks flew, part of the lab erupted in flames. Foxer broke free, moving faster than ever. He attacked the criminals, dismantling their weapons and knocking them unconscious one by one. When it was over, Foxer turned to Max. His voice was heavy but firm. "Give me the order to disintegrate. I don't want to fall into Myron's hands. I cannot become an evil robot." Tears filled Max's eyes, but he whispered the order. Foxer's body shimmered, breaking apart into millions of tiny nanobots. Before disappearing completely, his voice echoed softly, "I'll always be with you." Myron roared with fury. He struck Gecko unconscious and ordered Igor to call for the helicopter. Dragging Sonia with him, he fled to the rooftop. Max chased after them, but Myron overpowered him. With a cruel laugh, Myron hurled Sonia off the building. At that instant, the nanobots that had disintegrated surged back, flowing into Max's body. Foxer's voice rang in his mind. "You're not alone, boss. Fight." Strength like never before filled Max. He attacked Myron with powerful blows. Myron hurled a huge stone slab at him, but Max caught it easily and smashed it aside. He delivered a crushing punch that sent Myron sprawling. Then, hearing Sonia's terrified scream, Max dashed to the edge, his body moving at blinding speed. Just in time, he caught her before she hit the ground. She clung to him, trembling, safe in his arms. Soon, the police stormed the building. With Gecko's recording as evidence, Myron was arrested, his empire shattered. Alex resealed the remaining nanobots back into the cylinder, vowing to protect them. Before leaving, Alex looked at Gecko. "I need a head of security. Will you work for me?" Gecko smirked and nodded. "Consider it done." The next day, Max received a letter at home. With wide eyes, he read it aloud. He had won the drawing competition. Overjoyed, he ran to show his parents. Smiling, they handed him a surprise gift, a small puppy. Its playful eyes and wagging tail looked exactly like Foxer. Max knelt down, hugging the puppy tightly. This time, his family was together, safe, and Foxer's spirit lived on.